Hello, bros and brodettes. Welcome to a lo-fi, low-key lady coding happy hour. If you're new, this is what the show is about: coding and drinks. Today, we'll be continuing our amazingly catastrophic Todoist integration that we tried last time. I'm going to end up showing you guys the one step that I missed. It was literally one field. And then Sharon will continue and be a lot more competent than I was before. I am your host for today, MGOPW, and with me, I have the lovely ladies, Sharon Barnes and Sarah Tolson, who are now going to introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Tolson. I am the experience lead at Servos, here to provide colorful commentary and watch the chat and all that good stuff. So,
what are you drinking?
I am drinking a white wine, but it is a wine by Biltmore Estate, bottled and done right here in my home state of North Carolina. It is their North Carolina Chardonnay.
That sounds fancy.
Oh, it's fancy.
It is really, really good wine, but not what I'm doing. I'm Sharon Barnes. I am business analyst over at Clear Sky, and today I am drinking a blue Moscato. Nice, fun, light, and hopefully sweet wine. So we'll see how that tastes because it's the first time I have drank that.
And like I said, I am Maria Gabriela Ochoa Perez-Wechter, and today I am drinking Gatorade Vintage 2001, maybe 2022, because I had an awful stomach bug and I feel like death. But you know, if I called out today, Earl would have just made fun of me relentlessly for that one other time I had to call out. So I'm here, Earl. I am going to be at the CreatorCon keynote, and I better see y'all in New York. I want to get as many plugs as I can into that. I'm going to also be presenting my own session at CreatorCon. I don't know what day and I don't know what time, but y'all better find me. Mine is the very first session. It's the session on the list that has the little guy going like this.
That was genius. I was like, who put the? Oh, it was Gabby. Of course, it was.
It was
yes.
It was great for like searchability and right at the top, but it was a complete accident. So before we get sidetracked, let's go ahead.
We're trying to outdo each other.
I know. It's going to be awful. It's going to actually be awful. I'm so sorry to everyone in advance for what's going to come. But anyways, Sharon, do you want to go ahead and take over?
I would love to. All right, so let's go. Today, first thing I want to start with is looking at what we finished with last time. If you were with us, I think it was about a month ago. And that was the one thing we missed when we set up our credentials to Todoist. And let me go ahead and get my screen
It was just
shared.
one thing, y'all. Literally one field. And that's why I got all those ugly messages.
Now, if I recall, you said that was under credential or connection and credential alias so that I can show everyone?
Yeah, it's under the HTTPS connections. Man, our inters today are just slacking. I think we have Charloon Timasi. Timothy. I don't know how to pronounce that name for our intern today, but thank you, intern.
All right. So was this the right page, that connection and credentials for our Todoist alias?
Yes. Now scroll down to the bottom.
All right. Down to the bottom.
And yes, it's that one right there.
So we'll go into this. So this is the actual connection alias. And we were missing, if I recall, this field right here being populated, the credential.
Literally the credential, y'all. It's not even a required field, but we were missing it. And that's what threw up all those errors.
Yep. And once we did
Did
that...
you have no information there at all, or you did and the information wasn't put in right?
It was blank. Like, there was nothing there. The credential was made, and it was everywhere else. But this is the one that mattered.
Okay. You gotta link it all together.
So even though the credential is not a mandatory field, it is kind of mandatory.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Y'all remember, I am not an integrations person, so I get to ask all the dumb questions too.
Neither am I. And
No, you're the expert today.
You
no,
are
Sharon
the
is.
expert. No, I'm
Nope,
the
I'm
business
just here.
analyst that you're
Nope.
having me drive.
Today I
All
am an
right.
expert in Gatorade.
Fair enough. But going into here, then when we went to our action for collecting the tasks, and we're going to go in here for this just to show what happens. We had our rest step, which was reaching out to Todoist using those credentials and connection, fetching some information using a JSON parser to process it, and then providing us outputs in the format of a JSON array, or of a array object, rather. So let's test that.
And y'all get ready. It's going to remind us multiple times that we need Integration Hub and licensing for it in a production environment. We've already got
that's
one.
valuable.
Yeah, but how many times?
I don't know.
I would say we should do shots, but
no errors.
Yay, no red.
Very good. All right, so since the last time we went ahead, we've made sure our tasks action is working. We have also gone in and done a projects action as well, which pretty much does very, very similar stuff. Going to use that rest step to go through and look for the connection, get the path for projects and get that information. It is then parsed by the JSON parser step. Just for those who are new to this, that's actually the step in this. My cat just fell off my table. That's hilarious.
Goodbye, Picard.
Okay, my husband's cat. Goodbye, Miranda.
Miranda, no.
So that this is the step that Integration Hub subscription is required to be able to use, which is really useful to know because it does make things, at least for me, the one time I've had to do it without, about 4 hours faster to get the JSON in a useful format. At the very least, 4 hours faster.
And something else we learned is that those outside square brackets are actually important. Don't forget those when you copy over the structure from the documentation API.
Syntax will get you every time.
Who knew?
Very, very true. All right, so that catches everybody up who may have missed our last show. I'm going to really quickly also circle back to just what is Todoist? What is the premise of what we are building? Todoist is a way to manage all of the things you need to do. And I happen to have a developer on our show and on our team who really prefers to track everything that she does in Todoist. I've got some demo data in here. So one of my projects is cookies, buy the ingredients.
Can you hear the resentment?
Eat the cookies. I mean, as long as you update your stories, that is all I need. So we're building this integration to take what she's got in Todoist and then update her stories so that I know where she's at. That type of thing. Keeping it real. We also
and
have
obviously, since I can't update my stories, that's why we're making an integration. So it does it for me.
Now then,
why can't you update your stories? Because it's an extra step?
No comment.
I don't think it's a lack of ability. It might be closer to a lack of desire.
Well, if it's an extra step and this has a better UI, honestly, using a pain in the butt UI can, like the forms, the form layout and everything,
okay,
yeah.
Like actually, let's be real. I personally find the UI of ServiceNow stories very clunky and very I'm not able to visually take apart what I need to do in a story description. So I always grab all my stories, put them into multiple tasks inside of a task in Todoist, and then I'm able to checkbox things and make sure that I get things done. It's just like going back into my stories and like updating them so the rest of my team knows. That's the part I kind of struggle with.
So all
Sharon
of you
and
out there that wonder why design and UX is important, this right here is why. You want to make it as easy as possible for your user to take the intended path. And a better UI, something that gives you the satisfaction of checking something off instead of like having to drop down and hit complete. You know, those little things can make the biggest difference in making it easier for your dev team, your project managers to get that stuff done.
Yes.
Sorry, I gotta get my design rants in when I can.
You can get your design rants in, but I still love stories. Give me stories. Give me features. I'm good. I enjoy it.
Welcome to
That's
Scrum.
why I admire
We're
you.
made up and the points don't matter.
That is pure sugar.
I
There
keep
is my
wanting to make a
comment on my
t-shirt
beverage.
that says that. But anyway, let's keep going.
All right, so that's what we're trying to do. So we've then sort of laid out what we're looking to do in our integration. We've mapped out what fields exist in Todoist and where they would go in connection to ServiceNow so that we know how that's all going to relate together. Looked at sort of the structure of how Todoist is laid out with projects, tasks, and subtasks.
And
Went ahead.
unfortunately, Todoist doesn't have too many. If you scroll back up, Todoist doesn't have a lot of the fields that ServiceNow does. So at the very top left corner in those bullet points, I was kind of trying to map out what data points. Go back up to the left. A little bit more. And then up.
Oh,
There it is.
there's
So
a
the
whole
label.
section
So
of
that
it.
was me starting to try to figure out how I was going to get more data into Todoist that was required in ServiceNow. So like for a while there, I wanted to see if I could make this into a generally agnostic configurable integration where I could make it as stories, incidents, etc. You could have priority and things like that. But yes, Miro is like the best. Let's talk about great UI. I never want to touch is it Visio? I can't remember. But whatever other
Yeah,
purple
Visio.
workflowing tool is awful.
No, Miro is great for it. My team uses it extensively, and even it can be a wireframing tool in a pinch if you want something easy. There's another one out there called Mural, and it has a lot of the same functionality as well.
Thank you, Sharon. Sorry about that.
That was me. I did my
No,
job.
I meant like, sorry. Thank you, Sarah, comma. Thank you, Sharon. I apologize for the interruption. Please continue.
All right.
Don't worry.
And
I can differentiate women's voices on calls. Don't worry.
uh-huh. All right. Going back to Flow Designer, now that we know the premise of what we're building. Now that we've got an action for projects and we've got an action for the tasks as it's the information is in Todoist, let's go ahead and we're going to build today the flow that's going to go ahead and reach out to Todoist, get the information about
Project.
basically what she's done, and go from there. And with that said, for you ladies, do you think we should build that as a flow or a subflow?
Subflow.
Yes. Why? Why is that the better way?
Sarah?
I was paying attention to the chat. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. So
I think
the
it's for reusability.
Yes, it is exactly reusability. I love subflows because you can put things together in reusable components, and then when you find you have to use the same particular combination of actions again, you've already got it built. You just pick that up and drop it into a flow, and good to go.
Excellent.
All right, so let's
I mean,
create
honestly,
our new subflow.
like Sharon is gonna forever drive Lady Coding Happy Hour because she is so informative. She teaches us. She makes us pay attention by
She's a
asking us
professional
questions.
cat herder. Come on,
She
call
is
it like
so
it is.
professional. She's a great business analyst and so much more.
This is really interesting because when I'm doing like widget design and figuring out features and architecture for like portals, one of the things that I strive for is that reusability and seeing those principles carry through to like the flows and everything on the back end that helps put it all together. It's really neat because, yeah, it can save you a lot of work in the long haul to put things together in a way that isn't specific to a particular use case, but it can also be used more widely and generally.
That's something I learned recently with script includes and extension points and other fancy words, which I love.
All right, we're in the all looks right. Create. And our first action is going to be under our Todoist. So simply search for to do spoke and get projects. That's what it does. It's going to go run our custom action that we've already created. Done. That provides us information to match against. Next, we are going to go ahead and I am actually going to look at a nice example of what we've built to do this because I love looking at examples. All right, so we're doing a for each logic next. Now, for each goes through and basically if you've just gone and collected multiple things, it's going to run through that list of things and for each one of those, do whatever comes next in your flow. And that is under here. What do you think? Do we need to put the projects JSON or the idea in our ID in our for each? Not sure.
I think you have to put in the actual JSON.
All right, so we're saying we need the full JSON in there because we're going to want all
Also,
of that information.
Sharon taught me something super important. You can't grab items from the future. So let's say you're in like step 3 and you're looking on the right hand side and you're wondering why things are grayed out, the things that you want. You should like look at the numbers. The numbers on the right under data match the numbers on the left under actions. And it's the data that's available at each action. So if you can't reach into the future at number 3 and get something from a number 6, and that's why it's grayed out. No amount of Googling will tell you that.
That makes
Because I think
this is a really simple UI. Like y'all are almost going to get me unafraid of trying to put together an integration. Almost.
All right. I know there is
honestly,
an action for creator update.
Yeah, honestly, I found myself overthinking things. This in my brain, the old workflows worked a lot better because I think very visually. I don't think up and down and linearly. I like to be able to see
neat little
arrows
maps and lines and things.
Yes, like I need my lines.
Well, it's what you do in your Miro, and then you like translate.
Exactly. But yeah, it definitely felt like I had my right hand tied behind my back and I was trying to cut a cake. It was really weird trying to use Flow Designer, but I really feel like what are you trying to do, Sharon?
I think I'm trying to find the table that products are on so that I can tell it to look for
projects.
Products.
Why products?
So under a story in Agile development, you could do either. Ooh, that's a good question for you. Would you want to do epics or
Aren't we
products?
doing features?
Features only exist in safe.
Oh, ew. Okay, let's do epics, I guess. No, let's do themes. Themes. Is it theme then epic or epic then theme? Chat. Quiz time.
Oh, chat's been lighting up because they're taught when you mentioned needing to be visual with your flow designing, they are mentioning the flow diagramming feature that apparently is available in San Diego. Am I right, people? Now I got to look it up.
It is available in San Diego. I know that is true. I have not played with it yet. All right, so we're going to do then, you said...
Maybe epics? Because definitely not products.
And that is RM epic.
And confirmed. Flow diagramming is a S. Man, if only I could say words. San Diego feature.
Not tasks. This one. This was product.
Click save.
No, I want to do my table first.
As long as you don't delete it like I did earlier.
Ah, that is another valuable tool. If you delete something in a fork, so like if we deleted the for each, step 3, here's a random trivia, does that still exist or is that also deleted as part of fork from step 2?
I don't know, Sharon. What happens?
Let me click save first.
Let's not do a reenactment of what happened this morning, huh?
Because yes, it goes bye-bye.
Yep,
Everything
gone.
under it.
It's like I find the funnest things. Like first we found out editing in UI Builder is simultaneous.
Yeah.
And then we found out that, yeah, you delete nested items. It's great.
All right, so the fields that we're going to do, create or update, are going to be correlation ID, which will go...
Correction.
Mhm.
Flow diagramming is currently only on flows, not subflows, and it doesn't support all flow logic yet. Thank you, LH.
All right, so currently I am looking to see, does Epic have a unique identifier that we can utilize?
I'm sure it also has correlation ID.
I would assume so, but I always like to check.
Right click the header. Yep.
Table.
Yeah, it's really annoying, isn't it? Let's talk about UI things. Why can I right click here on the gray area and get the configure menu? But when I click on the gray area on a list view, I can't. So I have to click on the header columns.
Yep, still exists.
Yeah, I feel like correlation ID might be like a base table, whatever they all expand kind of thing.
All right, we're going to map that to the ID. What else would we want to update about this? Probably need to, well, take a look at what data we get back.
You can probably just look at the JSON parser step and look at it right there. But this is also a way. So I guess we want to tie name to short description.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you very much. I will collect my Sense Award later today. I would like to thank the Academy.
You don't get many of those.
Whoa! Wow! Wow! That was so cold-hearted. I never thought you would do that in public.
We're all friends, at least at the start of this.
I saw order in that list. Would that be important to ordering how the different subtasks and everything are set?
I don't think we're going to try to handle subtasks today.
Oh, okay.
Because that's a whole nother, like, do we do it as story tasks or do we do it as separate linked stories?
Do y'all use the Scrum tasks in your stories?
Exactly what I'm saying. Like, are you asking, does my team have that as a process, or
I'm asking,
is Gabby good at using them?
Does your team use it as a process?
Halfway, kind of, technically, yes.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong, Sharon?
You are not wrong. We have it available.
Thank
it is
you.
used, I think the main places we use it is after QA finds a defect. They'll kick the story back with a subtask of what needs to be fixed. And we are also using subtasks for documentation. So like once a story is ready to be documented, we'll create that and assign that over to that particular team. All right.
So that's the only place. So kind of, sort of, maybe.
Yeah. I think this is all of the information we need for projects.
I agree. Hit save.
Shall we test it and see what happens?
Do it.
Ooh, I had this extra task that I was just throwing in there for an example of what it looks like when you're trying to grab from the future. No back in time machines. All right, test. Run test. And let's see.
Woo!
Geez, my
Okay.
cursor failed. Null
So
is
we
it up?
got that before. Let's go back to the this is what I was talking about. Let's go back to the JSON formatter.
All right. Ooh, I think I know what you're going to say. Go over here. We're going to look at our JSON parse step.
Okay, we have
and
the lines. And do we have it as a
That's there.
Okay, we have both. Can you hide the data menu?
Generate target. Yep.
And then let's see if this object looks good. Click on the arrow on the left of root.
Root arrow there.
Okay, so we've got that. So it is properly formed. Oh, hang on, scroll up. That's a lot more than
It's a lot
I
of
would
data.
expect. So let's go ahead and there should be like clear all. And then generate target. And now let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks different at least. I take that as a positive sign.
And it is
Let's go ahead and
less.
save and let's go ahead and test it real quick.
Well, if we've changed this, one of the things I've
Oh.
learned when doing these is you have to double check your outputs because we just changed what the outputs are.
And fun fact, you got to do the same thing when you copy this action. I tried doing a cop. Oh, you got to move out the data tab.
Mhm.
This is a very precise process with a lot of moving parts. You have to get just so, isn't it? Certainly seems.
Yeah, but I feel like if you get enough muscle memory, it'll be good. The thing is that Sharon and I are kind of feeling things out in the dark, blind, because, well, I know me and
Both
my
blind
patients.
and in the dark.
Yes, blind and in the dark and blindfolded with my hands tied behind my back.
Because I haven't like rebooted the instance on accident yet, so it can't be that bad.
No, I realize sometimes that I get really stubborn. And this is a lesson for all of you new developers out there. If you are stuck on something for 5 minutes, just Google. Don't keep poking. Just Google. Don't be stubborn like I am.
Where'd it go?
Oh, I think this was a teachable moment.
Oh,
Don't be
you were
stubborn.
like chiding the camera.
Yes. Learn from my mistakes. I am a hypocrite.
Google, ask your local dev MVPs.
Yeah. The phone a friend option is a very good option. I feel like I've said that on interviews multiple times. Like they're like, "Oh, what do you do when you get stuck?" And I'm like, "I ask my friends."
Mm-hmm.
But I've said one time I said I have a panel of experts ready to be consulted on any high issues, any high priority issues.
Honestly, I found that to be so important because the documentation ends at a certain point, and a lot of what you find on like Stack Overflow and things like that can be just close enough to be infuriating, but not actually meet the needs of that are specific to ServiceNow development. So that community is everything here.
All right, so I'm going to ask a question because it's been a while. Do we have to like reload this subflow in order to test the changes that have been made to that action?
I don't think so, but does the action execute all right?
Well, that seems like a reasonable thing to test.
Oh, and it's not published.
That would definitely mean that it's not going to work.
You would think the testing would.
Okay, the test works. So now let's publish the changes that we've made. And now let's try it again.
It's going to work this time.
Way to jinx it, Sarah.
No, that's my enthusiasm. I am setting expectations for it that it now feels
I'm with
This
you.
isn't a
Speak it into
customer.
being.
There you go. Name it and claim it, baby.
This isn't a customer that you gotta manage expectations with. This is software. It's much more logical.
Uh-huh.
At least until I like throw my computer out the
Woo!
window. There we go.
All right.
All right, now what? So what at this point can it do?
So right now it's creating an epic for every record that it does not find a correlation ID that matches.
Okay.
So did you check off that checkbox? I forgot to look.
So if you have a task in your to-doist that doesn't match up with an epic, it'll create an epic to go with the task in to-doist.
Not yet.
That's what you're trying to get it to do.
Yes.
But right now it's just checking to see.
Yep. Right
Oh.
now it's just checking to see. And since we don't have any records that and the emoji came through.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was
Yay!
like, yep.
I'm telling y'all, developing with emojis is going to be a new programming language in 2025. Forget NFTs, emojis.
All right. So we have, for each loop, a record that has been created or updated.
Woo!
I like it. So we have a subflow that creates projects. We have a subflow that creates tasks. And
Uh-oh.
I actually thought of, now we're going to start building our flow to put all of
Hang on,
this
did we hit save? Did we publish it?
Oh, you're so good.
The subflow. No, I'm paranoid. This is anxiety.
All right. It is now published.
Yay!
Yeah, a couple people in the chat were asking if
No, this is the
or
wrong
not.
one. This is the one.
Publish all the things.
Okay, is this one? Yeah, this one's projects. Awesome.
All right. So I'm going to close
Also,
that.
why does
I'm
that
gonna
say
close that?
change that to say projects, not products?
Okay.
And this is just me being the nitpicky architect that I am. Do you want to rename the other subflow to match this subflow's name?
Do it.
Because that would bother me so bad. That's like one of those like those little things that just get you, you know, when people put spaces in the names of fields, or they put spaces in the names of groups instead of underscores. Like, I judge you. If I am ever in an instance and I see something like that, if I see that you capitalized any other word after the very first one in a field label, I look up to see who made that update and I judge you silently.
All right. So our next thing to do is make our flow. This is going to be the Todoist magic. As in the words of a client that I worked with for my very first integration, they literally said, it's like you're making magic over there. We have no idea what you're doing, but it's like magic. All right. Now, knowing my developer that I'm trying to fix this for, she likes to work late at night, so she could do some crazy stuff that needs to be tracked. But I'm pretty sure she's not updating any of her stories at 7 a.m. So I'm going to say once a day at 7 a.m.
Guys, our old intern, Bread Till Tune, is on the chat. And he asks a great question. How does it make me feel when I see it in an out-of-the-box app? I don't know, Bread Till Tune. It's not like ServiceNow has plural table names as well out of the box and they can't decide on a spelling of canceled. Chat right now. Poll. Let's do this. How do you spell canceled in the past tense? With one L or with two L's?
I'm dying. I've never even noticed that before.
It's awful. Okay, this one time, Jeff, the guy who got me started in ServiceNow, Jeff Lamonis, he asked me to make a state called canceled on a custom table. And then I ask him, so how do you want to spell it? And he goes, I don't know. How does ServiceNow do it? Let's stick with that. Because that's how we kind of get like our best practices. How does ServiceNow do it? And then I went down this rabbit hole where it's just on the sys choice table. It is spelled both ways and it hurts me. Hang on, Wizza Floyd, no. It's with a C. It's not with an S.
Don't be judging people for their spelling, okay?
I am actually.
Yeah,
If I ever
accidentally use
see
the
a
British
misspelled,
spelling.
no, if I ever see a misspelled script include or a misspelled variable anywhere, I will judge you so hard.
Remind me
but
never to
silently.
show you my naming conventions for my service portal, like variables, my script variables.
You guys know that Parks and Rec reference? It's just misspellings, judged. Plural table names, believe it or not, judged.
You know, I could never watch that show, even with my background in local government, and that was the specific reason
hurts.
why. I couldn't find it funny because I was like, this is not how my people act. Stop.
I
It
can't
bothered
watch
me.
The Office because I had a boss like that in my life and it physically hurts me. And my husband hates me for it. But you have to watch. Okay, this goes to everybody in the chat, y'all. You have to watch, I think it might be the second episode of Parks and Rec. The Venezuelans come over into their town and it's just the most funniest. And as a Venezuelan American immigrant, I must say it is a very, very accurate representation of my peoples. I welcome all of you to broaden your cultural borders and horizons by watching the Venezuelan episode of Parks and Rec because it is amazing.
I love how that is how you invite people to partake of and appreciate your culture. Watch Parks and Rec.
I mean, no. Oh, if y'all want to be hurt, go watch Encanto. It's from Colombia. It's my cousins. Like that movie physically hurt me, and I've had many issues with that. But you know, it's a fantasy after all because we'll never get the closure that they get. Hashtag generational trauma. Woo!
You know, you bring that up, and I've had those songs stuck in my head all day.
It's
but okay, so
good.
Sharon, you're creating the. I want to make sure we're still on track.
What?
Oh,
You're
I've moved on
creating
like 4
trigger-
steps further.
Yep.
So Sharon, you want to give us an update on what you're doing?
All right, so over here we have our flow. It's going to run updating the projects and
Hi, Aya.
updating the tasks, which is totally what we wanted to do. But it also occurred to me that I needed to do one more thing because the creating task flow, what it's doing is it's just checking to see if that particular task is already created as a story. And if not, then it's giving it a short description and description. This doesn't tell me anything about whether it's done. And what I care about from my perspective as the business analyst and for like our project manager and our leads and all of that is the story done or not? Fair enough?
That's exactly what I was trying to address with labels. So if we go back to the Miro, this is where I was stuck because there's no real way of denoting that. So like if you want to add it on the labels bullets, we can probably do something like in ServiceNow, we can have a default set of labels created that then push into Todoist and create labels there. In order for anytime somebody installs this application, you'll have the state of the story and you'll have the other relevant information. But the problem is that I couldn't figure out if that would work. Because otherwise, like you said, yeah, like the integration is pretty much dead on the ground if you don't know the status of the stories. Oh, wait, hang on. No, I'm a liar. There is a way to do this. The swim lanes in Todoist. Can you go back to Todoist, please?
Oh, that's an interesting idea that I had not thought of. What I was going to do is I was going to check the story and use logic and just do a lookup at the stories that we created or updated and see, are they currently work in progress? And if the Todoist integration pulls back that they have been clicked as being done, then I was going to switch them from work in progress to peer review or whatever our next state is.
So would y'all say with like bringing up the swim lanes thing, in my integration ignorance, would y'all say that when you're looking to map out an integration, kind of figure it out, one of the more important things is to like look at the different types of data and how it's all structured and try to make sure it all maps up?
That is the most
Lines up.
important thing.
That
That
is
is
crucial.
why I spent 6 months planning this and thinking about it before we even tried touching it. And I still didn't finish mapping it out, as you can tell. But yes, Sharon, if we can figure out how the relationship between the story and the phase that it's in this project tracker project works, that's what I want to use for statuses, because it also visually mimics the visual task boards in ServiceNow when they're data driven by the state of the story.
I love those visual task boards.
All right.
Honestly,
so
me
each one
too.
of these-
But the
Oh,
problem that gets me, I want to be able to customize those cards.
I would
I would kill them.
very much like to work with the UI on that.
I would love to work with the UI on that. That is such a positive way of saying it. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Could you like, I know you can do drag and drop in Service Portal, but could you like bring
Technically.
the visual, what?
You can technically do drag and drop. Please continue.
Yeah. You have to do some work to get it to work, but you can do it. So could you technically bring the visual task boards like functionality wholesale into Service Portal and then from there like tweak the UI and everything?
I mean, are you talking about recreating it completely from scratch? Because I kind of went down that rabbit hole one time and I never finished.
Maybe that. I don't know if it would take completely that. I don't know what the table structure is.
But honestly, that is exactly why I went to Todoist, actually. Because visual task boards are amazing, but it doesn't show exactly what I need in order to be able to organize myself visually. So then I tried recreating it, and that was another rabbit hole. And then I found Todoist, and I love it. And then I wanted to integrate it with ServiceNow to get Sharon off my back. I mean,
man, at least you were doing it for like solid productivity reasons. I was just looking up if D&D Beyond had an API I could hook into.
Sarah, it's not counting as productivity if I haven't made any personal progress in this. Solely because I've been waiting to one day do this.
With this.
I mean, I have honestly, like, joking aside, I have learned over the years, in my limited amount of experience, that I often find myself trying to find ways to optimize my processes to the point that it is a detriment to the completion of said tasks that rely on the process. So I have had to just quit it and kind of draw a line for myself. And then unfortunately, like the Todoist integration, it just gets completely ignored and neglected for the rest of its life. Until one day we needed an idea for Lady Coding Happy Hour, and I was very happy to offer up my my idea so that someone could execute upon it. Someone much more functional than me, such as Sharon. So Sharon, what are you doing?
All right. So a question I have to ask as a business analyst is, when you're doing your projects in Todoist, are you literally moving things through from place to place?
Yes,
when they're ready?
It is the bestest thing in the whole wide world.
Okay, that is the opposite of how I use Todoist. If I do use Todoist, it's all pretty much one thing, and I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, see, I don't even check them off, actually. Checking them off to me is like, that's done at the very, very, very end. Like, that's not something I do. Okay. Now, here's the difference. For a to-do list that I am using as a to-do list, like tasks I have to do, yes. If it's a project or a story like this, I move them through the swim lanes as states, because that visually helps me out. Because otherwise, actually, something I found out about myself is if I don't visually see a lot in the last column, I feel like I've accomplished nothing. I sit here going, what have I done?
All right, so that's where you get your happy place is when this final column is all
Yes.
the way full.
And just as a disclaimer for those of you watching, this project tracker is a template that we installed just to have demo data. This does not reflect the kind of project management that I'm talking about.
All right. Whereas, well, let me, since I've already finished building it, explain what I did based on how I operate of once I'm done with something, I check it off and I would want that task to now move to ready for testing. And with that, basically after we've done created or updated each story, I added an if logic to look and see if that particular story was in a state of work in progress. And the array was completed and what does the array for completed look like? I forgot what it says. Back to our actions, back to our tasks. Look at our JSON parser. All right, so that is completed true or false. So completed is true.
Oh, there's section IDs there.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
So section IDs, I think, are going to be what we end up using to make it work for you. Though I'm not
Yes.
sure we're going to have the full time to do it that
Oh,
way.
no. Not today.
But we would go in here and it would need to be true. Done. Then we would update the story to change the state to ready for testing.
Man, look at that.
And
That
then
looks amazing. Hit save.
by 8 a.m. when I wake up, I know your stories are updated. Or at least my
Exactly.
stories are updated.
Honestly, the safest time to run this would be at 4 a.m. because I kind of crash at 3:30-ish.
Okay.
Did we ever talk about what would trigger this?
Yeah, I decided daily.
Oh, there it is.
Well, we can just change that to 4 a.m.
Yeah. Awesome.
How are you functioning? You know what? I don't want to know. I don't wanna know.
Listen, not even joking. My best functioning development hours are between the hours of 6 p.m. and 1 a.m.
I'm sending you my toddler and my puppy.
So let's take a look at what we've got so far. And let's go to the Miro board.
All right, back to our Miro board. Which section would you like to see?
So we've got the... Oh, let's look at the use cases on the right. So we've got create and update, and we have to figure out assigning in the future, how we're going to handle that. And then how do we... Oh, another thing we're going to have to do is also make a flow for updating it the other way. If throughout the day I get a new story assigned, what are we going to do from there?
That is a good thing to think. Is this one direction or two-way?
I don't like One Direction. I'm much more of a Shawn Mendes type of gal.
I am so glad you made the pun because it was right there.
I'm so sorry.
All right. So what do you say we test this and see what we get?
No, let's end on a good note.
No? Oh, okay. We don't have to.
Okay, no, go. You got this.
Everybody
Let's do
deserves
this.
closure.
All right. So I wanted to start out with, so far we have stories because we've tested our action subflow for collecting the tasks. None of them have epics. We've done the test, which unlike ATF, which has a rollback, Flow Designer, if you test something, you have done the thing. It doesn't go, oh, never mind. All of that data is gone. Yeah, don't test in prod, by the way.
Wait, what?
Don't test in prod.
I mean, yes, don't touch prod, of course, but seriously, if I click on the test button, it actually creates data?
Yes.
Ew.
That sounds that doesn't make sense.
And we have also created epics because we tested our subflow for epics.
That
But
doesn't
all
make
of these
sense.
epics are going to have absolutely no stories. So let's see if we've assembled this flow together in such a way that it's going to work. And if my
Look at
audience
that.
could cross
It's
their
gonna work.
fingers.
I believe in it.
If I could highlight a comment, I
Did
would
I
highlight
click publish? I didn't click publish. I always think of that after I've clicked test.
our
So it's a good, like, 1 or 2 minutes of, oh, yeah, I needed to do that differently. Well, we can look and see they were completed. That's good.
no
And
Sam.
task had that. And that did that. All right. So let me double
Let's
check.
refresh.
Our epics shouldn't have stories because I'm pretty sure I didn't click publish.
Yep, no stories. So go
All
ahead
right.
and hit publish.
We're going to go over here and click publish. Ooh, actually, did we populate what the epic was?
I don't think we did in the other one. So go into the task itself, the get tasks.
The action over there, or
Yeah, the
This
action itself,
action,
I think, is where we
this
have to do it,
thing.
isn't it?
And that is going to be epic is,
Yes.
what is it?
it would just be the epic, not the. Well, I mean, you have short description up there.
Project. No, not project ID. It's yeah, it's project ID. Projects are epics, sections are states. So project ID.
All right, that's not going to work because our epic, the project ID matches to the correlation ID for the epic, which I don't know if I
Well,
can dot walk to from here easily. We're going to need an input, Queenie says.
Where do we put the input?
No, project ID is the correlation ID, they say.
No. So this correlation ID is for the story. We need to tie the project ID to the epic's correlation ID field.
Okay.
Let's figure this out next time.
We can do that. Instead, we will look at our epics. They exist. We've got our stories, and our stories exist.
And
So
this
that's
is a
some progress.
success.
Yeah, that's some progress.
And under my stories, I know that I had clicked complete.
Look at those
4
emojis.
cookies.
They make me happy. How do you search for an emoji?
So in Windows, you can press the Windows key period and an emoji keyboard will pop up. And in your Macs, I think it's like the function key. Why do I know this? Anyway, so I think we are like right at time. So let's go ahead and start closing up shop. Ladies, would you like to rate your drinks?
Mine was pure sugar dissolved in alcohol. Well, tasty alcohol. It wasn't bad. It was just definitely all I tasted was sweet. So 2 out of 5.
And yet she's still drinking it.
This is still very full.
How about you, Sarah?
My Biltmore, North Carolina Chardonnay. This was gone a while ago. So I at least give it an 8 out of 10. It was really good. Really smooth Chardonnay.
My Gatorade, all I'm gonna say is that orange is the best flavor. If you don't like it, check your tastes. This is a 10 out of 10. So go ahead and plug yourselves, y'all.
Ooh, yes. I'm Sharon Barnes, so you can find me in devs at Sharon Barnes. You can also find me at CreatorCon at Knowledge in New York or virtual. I will be doing a talk about DevTernship, so all about how to grow the developers that you need for your organization through an internship, and something I really enjoy talking about.
How about you, Sarah?
All right. Again, I'm Sarah Tolson. You can find me at portalorum.com, where I've got resources and some blog articles, things like that, where I focus on like design and building front end things. I will be in Las Vegas, which I'm kind of upset. Both of y'all are going to be in New York, but I will be in Las Vegas giving a presentation on how you can indeed create an elegant front end experience for ServiceNow.
Thank
Really,
you. I needed that.
I believe in you, Gabby.
Thank you. And I am MGOPW of many names. I will be at New York doing one session. I've got one session only digital content, which is all about localization and oh my gosh, things I wish I knew before I started. And then the one I'm doing in live is letting you know that you can do it and talking about job finding and dealing with disabilities in the workplace and whatnot. I'm also going to be doing the CreatorCon keynote on Thursday, so I better see y'all in the crowd.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if Sharon's not there asking me for an autograph as I get off the stage, like our friendship's over.
Do I get a
Other
pass?
than that,
I'm not going to be in New York.
I'll
yeah,
give you the
no.
autograph. That's okay.
And then other than that, you can catch me on womennow.dev, where we try to give a platform to women developers in our field. So if you want to talk about anything that you want, hit me up on SNDevs or MGOPW at womennow.dev. And find us in New York for our first ladies only breakfast meetup as well on the morning of the 11th. And I think that's it for us. I don't think we have any more time to plug. Thank you all so much for watching. And I hope you had some fun today on Lady Coding Happy Hour. Bye-bye.